business.
Welcome, everyone. Here we are, ready for Christmas, and we're all pumped and we're psyched because we've all done our shopping. Right, guys?
No.
Okay. But we're almost there. We're thinking about it. Welcome to Porch Talk Radio. Please don't forget us on Facebook. Just go to Porch Talk Radio, and you'll find us on Facebook. Be our friend. Drop us a comment if you have a topic or something you'd like us to cover. We might consider it. Also, don't forget us on blogtalkradio.com. Just type in Porch Talk Radio online. You'll find us there, as well as just PorchtalkRadio.com. Please share that link with friends and family all over the planet. We've got another great show lined up for you today. Eddie?
All right. I actually wrote a note to myself to say, ho, ho, ho.
You looking at me when you're saying that? What are you talking about? I don't think I like the way that sounds.
No, I'm not talking about three hoes. I'm talking about the Christmas hoes, where you actually
Christmas
say
hoes, okay.
ho, ho, ho.
I just passed Nebraska. Never mind.
They cleaned
it up.
They cleaned Nebraska up.
Hosed it off.
So, anyway, welcome. We're doing this thing again. This is toward the end of the year, so we only got one more show left in this year. And just think about it. I mean, that would be 3 years. 3 years, right? Because we did the other thing for 2. Yeah,
sure.
3 years.
Absolutely.
Okay.
The gray hairs are not showing at all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because I got dyed.
Well, I didn't want to go there. Okay,
I understand it. So from time to time, we roll over to the fountain of youth,
and squeeze it,
and squeeze it, and
a little bit harder. Oh, I was getting older now.
And wake up and find, we lost, 30 seconds or something like that. That's how much time. Anyway,
moving along.
That being said, we got a great show for you. There's a lot of stuff going on. I guess being country, they say don't air your dirty laundry in the front yard.
Uh-oh.
I guess that's supposed to mean something.
But
the local Republican clubs had an election the other night. Somebody told me at the meeting I was going to talk about this on the show. So I guess I can say something about it. I guess we won't talk about the dirty laundry part because you hang laundry in the backyard, country folks.
I remember that.
Not necessarily.
Put them drawers in the back.
Not necessarily in the front yard because back in the day, see now people don't even do laundry anymore. Not like that. They were not really hanging out on the line. See, because there used to be a time when folks like my peeps, we didn't have the washers and dryers and all the stuff that people take for granted now. You had some tubs in the backyard.
Yep.
And you had if you was good, you actually had a washing machine that was kind of beat your clothes up for about 20 minutes.
And you had a handle to crank it, dry it through. Yep, my mom had one of those.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
And then you get a big old hump in it, and the thing will pop up, and then you got 3. See, that's the thing about it. It was something magic about the 3 tubs of clean water. Because it was only good for the first couple pieces of clothes because you got this machine should clothes and then it goes through the little wringer and then it goes into a tub and then you take it out of that tub and run in the next tub and then after go through the last tub then you put it on the line. So you wring it out, hang it up.
Oh.
And for some people, they would actually take it out of the tub, dripping wet, without wringing it out and put it on the line.
That was more natural.
I'm just saying. But this was all solar heating and solar drying.
Back in the beginning.
Back in the day, yeah. So anyway, with that being said, as we have already said, we got a good show for you. But I guess good is not good enough.
Great show.
Great show. Yeah, we got a great show because this is toward the end of the year, and we got some stuff. And the media just. I don't know. I mean, they just falling over backwards trying to confuse you. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our little time here. We're going to straighten out some of this mess.
Bring some clarity.
We're going to straighten some mess. We're going to straighten out this mess and get you folks back on track. And when we come back, we're going to start out with mess number 1. See you in a little bit. Is this a mess? I actually heard something that, where the hell did this come from? Because somebody did this survey. Now, how they keep showing up with these surveys where this for the first time in history, there's more people on the planet that don't believe in God than do.
Well, anytime somebody says it's a survey or there's a study, here's the first question you have to ask.
Who did it?
Yep. Paid for the study.
And who was surveyed?
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
If you go just to the Muslim population, well, duh.
It's supposed to be a world survey.
Well,
Of Muslims, yeah, whatever.
You don't have to get there. You just have to get to who paid for it.
Yeah.
And then that tells you everything else you need to know.
Yeah.
That's the deal. Or did somebody make a supposition because there are more people who are maybe Hindi or Muslim or whatever on the planet, and they just sort of made the supposition. It just may be a supposition.
But Muslims believe in God.
Well, yeah, they
It's
do.
just not the same God.
Well, sure they do.
Allah the moon god, right?
But again, the concept of God is God. You know, there's more people don't believe in that entity, whatever it may be, shape or form, than not. That's
Sure, and so you have to start. So you sort of have to start looking at all that kind of stuff, and I just and people who are and again atheists are like they're like gay people in a way. There's not that many of them, but they do make a hell of a noise.
They make a hell of a noise, and they got a whole lot of lawyers. Because they suing over, now for them not to be a religious, they have a whole bunch of religious stuff. Because if I don't care and I don't think God is an existing being,
why would I give a shit? Why would I spend the time, energy, and effort fighting everybody, fighting the people who do?
Right,
it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And this first topic is on my back of your sheets. So, just a story there. There's some.
Welcome back, everyone. Porch Talk Radio on TV. Don't forget us on Facebook, and also for you Twitter type people. Porch Talk Radio T, you'll find us there. And as we begin our next part of our program here, just a quick reminder for everybody that if you should be in traffic behind somebody like me who's being distracted and you honk your horn, please, a quick honk would be wonderful. If you just lay on the horn for a while, you just really don't know how much time it'll take me to lock and load and come find you. Just a side note. Eddie, go on ahead.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I just, from time to time, we know somehow, and I tell you, every generation says that they're in the end times. I think we've been in the end times since Jesus Christ. You know, so every day since then, we're supposed to be closer to the real end times, and then after you're dead, your kids will be in the end times, and then their kids, and I kind of figured that thing out a long time ago. Kind of like I know people who are Jehovah's Witnesses, and when I was a kid, Jehovah's Witnesses knew exactly when the world was going to come to an end, and the rapture was going to happen, and then when that date came and went, then they changed the story. So I'm thinking, it's not really the end times because the Jehovah's Witnesses missed theirs. So I read this thing about what's happening in California. And when I say California, immediately an image pops in your head of paradise for liberals. Okay? So let me tell you what the liberals in Paradise, USA have concocted. Nothing new. Planned Parenthood to ninth graders. Are you ready for sex? Yeah, you heard me right. Are you ready for sex? Ninth graders. I don't know. I may just be behind, because that's not so much a liberal conservative thing. I don't think. I just think that's a moral home training, parent, kid kind of thing. I'm just saying. So, bunch of lazy parents in California decided that they wanted to take the sex education curriculum class out of the school system and pay somebody or have a contract I guess, like I said, they're in bizarro world. They decided that the best teacher somehow for sex education was Planned Parenthood. And they outsourced from the local school system. Now, they didn't outsource algebra. They didn't outsource home ec. I mean, if you're going to outsource something, home ec and shop. I mean, because you got people out there that can do it better than the school. I'm just saying, they didn't outsource history, even though they don't teach it anymore. They didn't outsource it. Definitely did not outsource civics of government or any kind of political education, so the kids actually know what the hell is going on. But in 9th grade, they thought it was so important that they get sexual education and have it done by the proper folks that they outsource sex education for 9th graders. Now, let me tell you some of the things that these kids, some of the questions that they had to answer. And this is part of their curriculum. They asked them about, this is like the checklist. I have safer sex material. Now, these is 9th grade girls and boys. Safer sex material, that's condoms, dental dams, etc. I have water-based lubricants. I know when my body is sexually aroused. I can tell my partner what feels good. I'm just saying. It's a whole list of stuff, but this is just some of the stuff that was on the list. I don't know how you feel about it. And with what I have seen going on in the system today, where the teachers are having sex with the kids, male and female, and they are held accountable to us, to the system, to the church, to the community. Now, you going to pay somebody that's not in the system, that's some kind of private entity, and their job is training your kids, and they did all this without the parents' consent. They did all this without a parent signing off on the curricula or the material or the show and tells, because that's always interesting for sex education, I'm just saying. Because I've seen some of the material that they taught at some other different levels, and the fact that they're getting this in 9th grade. And I guess, people saying, well, what's the right grade? Because, liberals have started it out in 6th grade. Some of them, think it's okay to wait till, 11th or 12th grade, even some of them in 10th grade. So again, we that's the slippery slope of the fact that they got the concerned entity that's known as Planned Parenthood, who only killed about a couple of few 100 million babies over their lifespan. They're concerned about unplanned parenthood. I'm just some things make me beside myself, so I'm gonna let it be beside Willie and be beside Gabriel here.
And I often say this. I often say that I'm never surprised. I'm often saddened, but never surprised that this school district and the school would turn to Planned Parenthood, because we are in what I call an expert-driven society. All someone has to do is declare themselves an expert on anything, and suddenly they have all this credence. And it doesn't surprise me that, again, because I worked in the school system here in this county for 15 years, so it doesn't surprise me that they started off with freshmen in high school. It doesn't surprise me, because unfortunately the reality is that if someone is likely to get pregnant in school, it's going to be a ninth or a 10th grader, not an 11th or 12th grader. And the reason is the 11th and 12th grader are close enough to graduation, and they don't usually screw it up by then. The less mature kids, the 9th and 10th graders, usually make that mistake. So it doesn't surprise me that they start there. What surprises me, saddens me really about California is that they went through all of this, and they could have gotten parental approval for all this stuff and did it that way. But what they knew was that a lot of people would not have approved. Well, which is why we know about it. If everybody there was cool with it, right, we wouldn't know about it. We wouldn't know. And of course, if Planned Parenthood, Gilda Gonzalez, the senior vice president of the external affairs for Planned Parenthood, she says that they're an organization, we've been doing sex ed for 90 years. So again, we're back to this whole expert-driven world. Yeah, I guess they've been doing sex education. If you have sex and have a baby, we'll kill it.
Yeah.
And now the quiz. If you have one, we'll kill it. That's what they've been up to. So, and California, unfortunately, being California, is that they're all down with Planned Parenthood. They bought into the whole thing that Planned Parenthood is about what their title says there it is, planning to be a parent. When their reality is obviously planning not to be a parent, or planning to be the parent of a dead child. Which is what they really do.
Yeah.
I saw this, and I saw it on the internet. Oh my God! But it struck me as being true. Having an abortion doesn't make you not pregnant.
No.
It makes you the parent of a dead child.
Yes.
And that's what Planned Parenthood has been good at doing. And so it saddens me, but it doesn't surprise me that this crap happens in California. What we have to do is make sure that this sort of nonsense doesn't roll like the rest of the nonsense rolls across the country,
through the rest of the 50 states,
and ends up falling on us. We've got an incident already where that's happened. It happened in Florida here, and will come to full fruition on the 5th of January already. So hopefully this won't too.
You know, guys, I had read something similar to the tag I saw on Facebook that said that a child is born, and birth is that natural process. Death is the natural process when a child is aborted. And it was kind of trying to draw a distinction between when the child is born and when it's killed and what led to what. And you think, gee, that's too simple. But a lot of people don't see as abortion the ends to death, and yet birth the ends to a baby being born. It's too simple. We get lost in that somehow. But looking at Virginia also, they're having the same issue, and it's understanding that in Obamacare there is the PrEP department that was set up, which is the preparatory. Mm-hmm. They had $75 million dished out into that, and that was built into Obamacare, and that's where the funding is coming from for what these schools are doing. And again, California, Virginia is also tapping into it as well and making use of the funding, which basically Planned Parenthood is getting the money.
Right.
And Planned Parenthood is distributing the literature, and Planned Parenthood is teaching the teachers that are doing this program, and even the school district out there is looking at adding 3 more experts on teaching. And again, it starts off with abstinence. But if you look through the literature, it's abstinence from STDs while using condoms for sex for the children. So it is a form of abstinence, just not what we would define abstinence as being. So Planned Parenthood is going forward, and they're getting the money through Obamacare, which has a little section already set up for the money to be sitting there, which I want to guess was probably built in with Planned Parenthood in mind initially, more than likely. That's just kind of the way it goes. So the money's there. They've got a ton of money to throw into this. And the fact that the Planned Parenthood, which is teaching abstinence, that's what the initial wording says, and yet going to their website, one of the pages that's set up for the kids has Hook Up Monday with red boxers and a hook sticking out of it. And then below it says, don't hook any STDs, use condoms first. So I'm like, okay, so it's a form of abstinence.
Yeah.
It's kind of like if you say something is black but it's white, if you say it enough fools are going to believe it.
Yeah.
And the school system, which is obviously controlled by its own set of people.
Yeah. Smart people.
Way smarter than us. They've got so much more education.
Yeah.
They've probably never held a real job, but that's another story. But anyway, so at this point, there they are now. They've got money, and there is nothing anyone is doing at this point to counter this, except like we are here, letting you know this is wrong. Now, I'm guessing it's been in Florida as well. They probably have another title for it.
Yes. Well, again, the thing becomes, I remember many years ago when they first came out with Apple computers. People say Apple is crazy. They're stupid. They're giving away all these computers.
Giving.
So they was putting apples in first and second grade, third grade kids. All were getting to use the free Apple computers. And the smart folks didn't understand that if the kids learn how to use the Apple at an early age, when they get to the point where they need to buy a computer, they were going to buy Apple. That's how Apple became the giant that they are now. They started out by giving first, second, and third graders computers. So in their classroom, when they learned how to use computers, they were using Apple. Now, I'm going to tell you how that reflects to Planned Parenthood. They're teaching the kids, well, in case you get pregnant, here we are. We help you solve that problem. And so it's marketing. They're marketing to kids so that kids know at an early age it's not the social pariah that it used to be to get pregnant. If you get pregnant, all you got to do is come down to one of our shops, one of our offices, come down to the corner, and we'll fix it.
Or that Planned Parenthood is not an adult thing anymore, because if you're in ninth grade, Planned Parenthood is kind of an adult thing.
Yeah.
That Planned Parenthood now is a thing for everybody. It's just a thing.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to figure out where the hell you were going with that, but
yeah,
I did.
Desensitized.
I did. Yeah. You want to make it as normal a thing as possible, just like and Apple did exactly that. Apple put as many computers in school as they could because they wanted those kids to see the Apple, and when it came time to buy one, they wanted one like they had worked on in school.
Now they got generations that are used to it.
Well, it made perfect sense.
That's what they did.
And now it's the cult that it is.
Yeah.
And I said cult.
Yeah.
You.
Oh my goodness.
You with your iPhone. Mm-hmm. Yeah, cult. But to normalize and it seems to be the way to go with the left.
Yeah.
Apple.
Yeah.
Is everything needs to be normalized.
Right.
That's why genderless societies or this whole genderless thing that's going on, especially on the West Coast, is happening in schools. Why? Because they want to be normalized. Homosexuality is being normalized. It's being normalized on television. It's being normalized everywhere. It's not, it isn't like it's even being held up as something you want to attain, but it's being portrayed as being normal. Well, you're gay. Okay, well that's normal. Now, according to and that's the thing. You want to normalize all these things. That way, as kids grow up, they go, I don't know why my mom was so crazy about all this. This is perfectly normal. And if you can get people to believe it's normal, then they'll accept it and ignore it. And the harm that it causes will be blamed on the people who say it's not normal.
And part of this thing too, this particular school we're talking about is near San Francisco.
Yeah.
Go figure.
So part of the survey questionnaire that the kids were taking was, they called it genderbread. Mm-hmm. And what genderbread means is, your sexual identity have these variables in which it used to be you was male or female. Short, easy question, easy answers. Now, for this particular school, the way they do it, they got male, then they got a big old space with a line there, and then they got female. So you can choose the male and female are the extremes. You can pick anything between male and anything between female, and you're okay. You still average. You still fit in. You don't have to feel any particularly bad way about whatever you write in the middle of that as a response or as an answer. And to me, it's not just destroying the moral fiber of the folks around today. These are the young kids they're teaching that to. So by the time they get to be, 40, 50, 60 years old, they would have passed that on to their kids and grandkids. And again, they keep moving that morality marker further and further and further left. And again, it's a lot of things that go with that. And we're not looking at that. So that's why I wanted to make sure that we brought this up, because we talking about stuff nobody else is going to talk about. And part of that stuff is Planned Parenthood being the purveyors of morality to your kids about what sex is and what sex is not, what's acceptable, and the fact that you know how to satisfy, arouse, and all this other stuff. There's something that they used to tell us when we was coming up about understanding that not missing something that you never had. It's okay to see something and want it, but until you got in the midst of knowing it, and if you got somebody pounding it in your head every day, like the Cadillac dealer, and we're not politically correct. So every black man who watched TV saw a blonde, blue-eyed white woman in a Cadillac. Somehow, the marketing folks figured all they wanted was the Cadillac. See, they mishatched the picture. I'm just saying. And that was part of what was happening, because marketing is marketing. You see the whole thing. So they think they're just teaching, and Tim's back there laughing, because the blonde and the blue-eyed white girl went with the Cadillac. So you got the Cadillac, you got the blonde. Marketing is marketing. So you're telling these kids that all this stuff is okay. All of it. Because they don't see a bit or a piece. They see the whole thing. They'll break out a suitcase full of stuff that in 50 years ago, you couldn't even find half that stuff in a pawn shop. I mean, a porn shop. Bookstore. One of those places where the perverts used to go hang out. Even those guys are making this family entertainment. I mean, you see what I'm saying? How far this thing has went? It went from that being the places where you put even in Florida, you put your long coat on, or you had a hoodie on, or a trench coat, and you kind of slithered in the side door just to go there. Now people act like it's a family entertainment. It's like, let's go to a movie, and pick up a few trinkets while we're there. Superstore, yeah. like Walmart.
Yeah. You mentioned the gingerbread person. The principal of the school said that the handout included a larger packet for the students. But this is how they sell it. They sell it it's about the difference, tolerance, empathy, and respect for others. Because those are all good things on the surface, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know what? Empathy. We need to be empathetic. We need to be tolerant of other people. Yeah. Except if I disagree with you, then I can't not be tolerant.
No.
Respect people's differences, and then respect others. And this is how they sell it, and this is how they will continue to sell it to the stupid.
Yeah.
And they're buying it hook, line, and sinker. And again, the more you desensitize the general populace to it, the more they just kind of begin to accept it. Well, everybody's doing it.
Yep.
No, the Porch population is supposedly gay. 3%? No, everybody's not doing that, okay? There's a small percentage. Now, they got a lot of money.
Yeah.
They got a lot of money because they don't got kids. They're too busy, whatever. But they're doing, they're too busy doing other stuff.
I'm going to give you the prime example of how this stuff don't work. When we were segregated as a society, they say once we integrate, racism will go away. And it is funny because in 1968 or 69, when the whole state was forced to integrate, there was an air about the country. That air is real similar right now. So sometime the big bright light goes off because here it is 60 years later, 40, 50 years later, who's counting? We still got prejudice. And it wasn't just because we were segregated and didn't know and didn't understand. Some of this stuff is innate to people.
But we got Obama in there now, and he's fixed it all.
Yeah, all right. Anyway.
We'll be back in a little bit.
We're going to go to a break right now. That's a good note. The fixer.
The mulatto.
The fixer has fixed it all.
The mulatto has fixed us.
See you in a little bit. Tim likes that.
Mm-hmm.
He liked the blonde with the Cadillac.
There you go.
I guess that's why I drive a Lincoln.
She was attached.
My uncle had a big old Cadillac, and I remember him. It was like a 74, big old Cadillac. He was an insurance guy. He always had he did run debits. He had this big old wad of cash all the time, and he'd go collect money. He had this big old Cadillac. To me, I saw insurance as Cadillac and money.
Yeah, with the cute chick on the hood.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, it was a fat aunt I had.
Like she was
That's
born.
another story.
You know what? I'm starting to think. I'm starting to think a lot of that shit came from Lake Wells in the country. Because I never looked at Cadillacs that way. Ever in my life. Look at a Cadillac with, that's how you get a white girl?
No. But
No,
see,
here's how you get a white girl. Play saxophone.
But they was there. They're in the commercial. Matter of fact,
I never. Well, that's not that wasn't it for me or anybody I knew. But that might have been when y'all in the country.
But it's a big world out there.
Because y'all didn't see white people that often.
Well, again, that's what I'm trying to
So
tell
white
you.
people, maybe white people were exotic to y'all.
No, they weren't exotic.
They were exotic.
No, they weren't
You
exotic.
don't even see them that often.
But part of marketing is
No, I understand the marketing, but that part of the marketing wasn't going to work on people who were from where I was from, because we saw white folks all the time. Went to school with white folks, lived next door to white folks.
Yeah.
So there was no across the track for
Right.
me. The only track there was people who had money and all of us who didn't. That was it. All of us who didn't lived next door and across the street from one another.
And that's it again. Part of that is your reality, which is different than his, is different from mine.
Yeah.
Because anybody who was born and raised in the South understood the difference between the tracks.
I only lived in a segregated neighborhood when I moved here. We lived in Progress Village, and it was all black when I moved here.
And it's so funny because I lived in a segregated neighborhood, and when I left home, I haven't lived in a segregated neighborhood since then. I've not lived in a black community since I've been in Tampa since 1971. But where I came from, I lived in the black community.
Well, and I guess you see, I live in a black community now, except that, let's see, people across the street from me are white, people next door to me are white. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They still say that I live in a black neighborhood, but most of the people who live on our block are white.
Yeah, but your community is considered to be a black community. Right.
But most people who live in now it is a Democratic community for sure.
Yeah.
Because the only 3 Republicans on my block all live in my house.
Yeah.
It's the 3 of us, and that's it. But everybody else is a Democrat, and most everybody else is white on my block. So
Okay.
Yeah, but again, some of this becomes socioeconomic too, which is the other thing too.
Most of it is for me. That's really the deal. Most of it ends up being not about skin color, but about green. Who has the money or access to it?
Because we used to you had black folks, no matter what socioeconomic strata you was in. Then we had the railroad track. Then we had the poor white folks. And then the further you got away from the black community, the richer the white folks got.
We got some wealthy black folks who live just south of me.
Welcome back, everyone, to Porch Talk Radio on TV. We've said some hot things already. If it struck a nerve somehow, let us know on Facebook. Just type in Porch Talk Radio. You'll find us there. Drop us a comment. Be our friend while you're there. If you'd like to be a sponsor on this fine show, please drop us a message. We'd love to hear from you. Also, don't forget it's just PorchtalkRadio.com. Please share that link with friends and family all over the planet. Eddie, we've had some good topics. I think we're just getting warmed up.
Yeah, we are. We want to thank our sponsors, Republic Service.
Thank you, Republic.
For allowing us to do this. Bloomingdale's Flower Shop. Again, it's Christine and the gang down there doing what they do. Got some flowers here for the seasonal, Christmas thing here happening. And, of course, Faith Home Health Incorporated. So, again, that being said, thank you all.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Appreciate
you for coming.
Your patronage.
Every week.
Greatly appreciated.
Watching us do what we do, listening to us do what we do. And hopefully you have got used to this so you can tell your friends, tell your enemies, just tell anybody.
Please, be our friend.
Yes. So, that being said, the word of the day is Christmas also.
Uh-oh. Is that politically correct?
See, and that's the thing that's so funny. Without going to a hardback dictionary to look up the word Christmas, if you go online, they give you everything but Christmas. I'm serious. You got to go through a lot to get Christmas because they want to see. When you say Christmas, they want to sell you something. They don't even want to give you the definition of the word Christmas.
It's been commercialized just a little bit.
I just found that so funny of the effort it takes to actually get we do the word of the day every day. I mean, every show we have a word, we can tell you the noun, adverb, the tenses, where it comes from, all that kind of stuff. And Christmas is a word that's kind of described in itself. Because a lot of people don't know what the word means. And I just kind of find that the fact that they've demonized the word Christmas, which actually means Christ's Mass. That's literally how the word came together, Christ's Mass. And it is a symbol. And again, the meaning of the word is not the meaning of the word. That's what I find so funny. Because it is the annual Christian festival celebrating Christ's birth. Held on December 25th in the Western Church.
The Western Church now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Expressing surprise, dismay, or despair. Now that's what the word is supposed to mean. And we stopped trying to do the tricky words, the big old words, because I wanted the words to be more about what we're talking about for that particular day. For the shed, for the woodshed, I was talking with the guys earlier about, I heard something this week that dismayed me. You can hear a bunch of stuff through the course of your going arounds and listening to stuff, and it cannot necessarily bother you. Like something that bothered me today, they put it in the paper that more black babies were being aborted in New York City than being born. I mean, stuff like that I noticed. I hear that. Then I want to go see where it came from and who came up with this information and why it's important and what is the technological, chronological something where somebody been watching, the birth and the population since we've been smart enough to do that. Now all of a sudden, since we've been keeping records, something changed. Well, similarly, I heard, and this just kind of caught my ear, that for the first time in history, because they always do that first time history thing, so you grasp the significance of it. It said for the first time in history, not the United States, not North America, North Hemisphere, all the divisions of the earth. More people on this planet don't believe in God than do. I want that to soak in a little bit. it don't say they were atheists. And evidently something has been working, because whoever's gathered this information and decided they want to release it, evidently has been watching this since started watching and keeping up with statistics for human birth, because they've been keeping up with, I guess, the number of people on the planet who believe in God. And so at some point in time last week, that number surpassed. So it's now more people don't believe in God than do. Is that significant? Do that mean the rapture has started?
There you go. Look to the east. Whoa.
Do that mean that the Muslims, the Christians, the Buddhists, the Confucianists, the whatever religion you want to bring up, because they probably got thousands of religions, entities where groups of people follow. I'm telling you like this: even if you follow the sun, or you follow the moon, you follow a babbling brook, whatever it is, that means you believe that there's something bigger, better than you that caused things to happen in your life. So it's more people that don't believe in the sun, moon, stars, the universe, the entity called God, Jesus Christ, the Holy Spirit, whatever your religions tell you that person is, Allah, however you do that thing. And to me, because I'm a Christian, don't mind telling you, I truly believe in all three. I believe in the Trinity, the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. I believe them. And the fact that there are people in the wilderness, because when I was a kid, they talked about people in the wilderness, and about everyone would hear the word before the rapture came, before Revelation. Everybody alive would hear the word. If more people don't believe in God than do, I'm just going to say it's going to be hard for me to believe that they're going to hear the word if there's no effort, there's no way for them to make an effort to hear something. We back to the thing about sex. There are certain things that you truly can't miss if you don't know they exist. You can't believe in something if nobody's ever mentioned to you that what it is you've been doing, how you've been living your life, however you want to formulate this idea, a concept, that there's something bigger, better, than yourself, and when you feel pain, it is just you alone. So again, guys, help me.
Well, you know what? I'm always, when I hear this kind of stuff, I'm always, skeptical. Because what we've seen, especially we've seen from the atheist religion, is that they make a huge noise. And they make a huge noise everywhere. We see them more this time of year than anywhere, than any other time of the year. Mm-hmm. What we see is billboards we see billboards all over the country about the non-existence of God, the fairy tale of Christmas. We see all that stuff. And now what they'll also do is they'll put stuff in places where we find it, like the internet and the like, about these made-up surveys and all these stories, because what the enemy wants to do is cause as much confusion as he can possibly cause. And this kind of stuff causes confusion, it causes people to doubt, and the like. So it doesn't, again, like I said before, I'm never surprised, but I'm often saddened. This is where a lot of this comes from. It doesn't make good sense, because even people who aren't Christians, and most of these attacks are on Christians, this idea that Christians are the only people who believe in a God is ridiculous. And all it takes is one more thought, just think to the next thing, to find out that that's ridiculous, because there are a billion Hindi.
Yeah.
There are a billion freaking Hindi. A billion to start with. Plus, whatever religions that exist in China, to the tune of more than a billion freaking people.
Yeah.
So maybe these kind of things that come out don't make any sense to you. And I think the attack is especially from the atheists is on Christians. You know what? You never see atheists attacking Hindus or Muslims. You never see them.
Why is that?
Them. Never. Yeah. It's always the attack against Christians.
Must be a code
and
somewhere.
Jesus.
Yes.
That's the thing that sends atheists off the deep end. You mention Jesus, and they just get nutty.
But they won't.
But as long as you mention, again, the Chinese, Buddha exists in China and in Japan. So, and they've got, again, more than 1 billion people. So maybe these kind of things are just thrown out there for the whole purpose of confusion and doubt. So what we have to do, and my advice to people is, believe what you believe and know why you believe it, and then live that out.
Well, Muslims chopping off heads, so I know.
Well,
I know why they ain't attacking Allah.
Well, because they want a fatwa on their head. That's why.
Exactly. So I think, guys, it's kind of the big picture on it all. As people are listening to these voices, the naysayers during this season, they kind of increase their volume. They put up more billboards everywhere.
They do.
And what happens this season naturally for a majority of us? We're under stress. We've got bills. We have work. We're trying to get shopping done. Have you tried to get around in traffic here? It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. And then you got to get... So there's a lot going on, and the atheists just pile on. It's just a pile on to discourage the brethren to where we're all just kind of down and out. This is a lot miserable. What a terrible life we live. We've got it good, folks. We have it really good compared to other places. Let's say like Mexico. That's why they're trying to come here. Let's go to other countries. That's why they're all trying to come here. Even though the liberals are saying this is the worst place on the planet, then why are we helping the Mexicans come over here? That's a side note. But anyway, folks, time for a commercial. Please don't forget us on Facebook, and we'll be right back.
Happy holidays, everybody. This is Dave Koz for RAD, Recording Artists, Actors, and Athletes Against Drunk Driving. When you're traveling during the holidays and see someone who's had too much to drink about to get behind the wheel of their car, get the car keys. Your friends will thank you for it because friends don't let friends drive drunk.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Okay, class, let's all sing our 911 song. There's a fire, there's a fire.
Dial 911.
There's a fire, there's a fire.
Dial 911.
If you can't raise an arm,
dial 911.
If you're suddenly having trouble speaking these words,
dial 911.
Face suddenly goes all numb,
dial
Welcome
911.
back to Porch Talk Radio on TV. Don't forget us on Facebook. Come on board. You've said quite a few things that have struck a nerve somehow, one way or the other. Drop us a note, a comment. Also, if you'd like to be a sponsor, let us know, please. Drop us a message. Be glad to work with you on that. Don't forget to share the information with friends and family all over the place. Be glad to hear from you. As we continue on, Eddie, where are we headed to?
Well, again, one of my things is I see something that catches my eye. Sometimes it makes sense, sometimes it don't. But I was reading this article about... It says blacks, like black people. They didn't say African Americans.
Yeah, I was going to say, wait a minute.
It said blacks deserve better than what liberals have to offer. This is trending. They don't want to hear it, but it's an awful lot of blacks who are not conservative, who are not your run-of-the-mill, burn-down Ferguson kind of black person, who are now noticing something about the liberals in the Democratic Party. I mean, just kind of think about, I just love it, like Rush Limbaugh says from time to time, when a plan comes together. Because they were talking about all these highfalutin sincere, caring liberals in California, in Hollywood, and how truly behind everybody's back, they found out they wasn't as caring and concerned about the people. And of course, there was a certain segment of the black population that's always been rebellious. I'm not talking about conservative, liberal, I'm talking about just a certain part of the population that's been rebellious. Well, more and more black folks, and I've been saying this since we've been doing this show, have come to the self-realization that them people don't give a crap about them. And when you figure it out, it's like having a girlfriend when you're a teenager. And somehow you are in love with this girl. And she don't give a crap about you. But she tells you from time to time that she do. And that's enough to keep you going. And then you wake up one morning and you realize, not because you caught her with anybody or you caught her doing anything or she said something, you just come to the self-realization that she's just stringing you along. And that's what the Democrats and a lot of those northeastern liberals have been doing to black folks. And more, and every single day, another black man, another black woman wake up and figures it out for themselves. And I'm saying hallelujah. Couldn't have happened fast enough. Watch this next election cycle. Watch how many black Republicans get elected, because you only got two parties, either Democrat or Republican. It was taboo, impossible for black Republicans to get elected. It's trending now, as they say. As the 20-somethings say, it's trending to be black, conservative, and Republican.
I think it's richer, too, because they got more money to show than what the government's putting in their pocket, otherwise sitting around on the government teat. So I think they got tired of being on the plantation, and they finally realized black people are just as smart as any other race out there, and all they got to do is just go work, and they'll see some results, and they'll have something to show for it. They'll feel something about themselves, which is good. And the bottom line is, it helps the generations coming down the pike saying, well, so-and-so made it. There's Eddie Adams out there. He's out there making it somehow. He's on TV, along with his buddy here. So nothing is impossible.
His buddy.
Doesn't matter.
I don't have a name.
Yeah, the nameless one, Willie Lawson. He does something on the show. He has a show. So these are black people that are doing things in the community that are helping out. We're seeing them on TV. So they made it. And Eddie's talked to the governor a time or two, I'm sure. I don't think you're texting buddies with him, but that's all right. But he knows who Eddie is. I mean, there's recognition there somehow. So again, the politicians are paying attention. You know, a dangerous individual to the Liberal Party is a black person that is making the difference and getting out of their situation without the liberal help and is making things happen for themselves. I see some nice looking Mercedes out there and BMWs, some black people driving it, and I think it's awesome. I love seeing that.
We back to the shiny objects.
Well, okay, minus the shiny. I'm just Hispanic, okay? I can't do shiny in my car. I can't get away with that.
Shiny objects.
But I'm just saying, to see people with toys that cost money that are of color, I think is awesome. They figured something out, and it wasn't staying on the plantation.
Help us out, Willie.
Yeah, okay.
Your car's not that shiny. You're good.
This is my job. This is my life. Here's the deal. What's starting to happen is that's what Eddie said. What's starting to happen is people are starting to figure out, especially in the urban community, that for as many years as they said they had answers, they don't, because it just takes a little bit. And with the advent of the internet and the advent of being able to go back and figure out what people said before and what things are now, what they're figuring out is that they don't match up. That the answers that these liberals have in these communities are not answers. That they're finding out that things aren't any better in their communities than they were 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years ago. Things are exactly the same in their communities. And they're figuring out that these Democrats, these liberals who have come in to say, oh yeah, we are your savior, have not been. They're suffering the same sort of economic disaster. They're suffering a sociological disaster in their communities. They're suffering all sorts of the same disasters that have been happening forever in their communities. And now they're starting to look, especially some of the young people, are starting to look for answers. And they're not finding them in the traditional places, which have got your run-of-the-mill liberal, especially white limousine liberal, got them scared to death. Because they're going to start looking to other places. They're going to start looking to Republicans. They're going to start looking to independents. They're going to start looking other places. And the power structure that existed in these communities, in the liberal communities for a while, is going to start deteriorating. And you're going to see that. You're right in the next election cycle. However, it's time to go. So I guess it's up to me to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Because we say Merry Christmas here.
Merry Christmas.
We say Merry Christmas. And as I start the show,
Jesus Christ is the reason for Merry Christmas. We just thought we'd clarify that in case you were confused. Thank you, folks. God bless.
All right. Ho, ho, ho.
We're out on time. No, people are going to start seeing. I mean, people are starting to see that that the solutions these people said. Okay, my favorite is a big, especially up north, the big housing communities. That's my favorite. Oh, you need affordable housing. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to tear down all people who had houses.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're going to put y'all in these big, tall skyscrapers.
Convenient green.
Yeah, for example.
Yes.
And we're going to put y'all in these planned communities and these big, tall skyscrapers that are going to be freaking death traps.
And we're going to move all.
We're going to move every Negro in the area to these places.
And we're going to let all the white folks move out, put them in nice houses uptown, and just watch the show. Put a video camera and watch the show.
Well, yeah, you know what? And yeah, what we created for you was your own community. What we created for you was your own plantation.
That's right.
And basically, we're gonna lock y'all in there. And y'all can do whatever y'all want.
Stay in a controlled environment and multiply.
Including tear it down and pick on the poor Korean guy trying to make a store.
Whatever it is, y'all can do whatever y'all want in there.
Burn it down.
Yeah.
So we're going to cycle this. I'll talk in your ear, but we'll do the same like we did last time. We'll crank this through. We're going to go 50 minutes.
I mean, there has, in my opinion, there hasn't been a more racist thing that's existed in the past 60 years than these housing communities. Oh my God, we're going to gather all y'all up and put you all in one place.
Yeah.
New York, Bloomberg was looking at actually, in fact, it's still in the workshop there, to do the community of these container-type rooms available to people for housing. And it's like the regular ship containers, like a trailer.
Well, New York's a different situation, where they got a gajillion people, and they just don't have room for people. So they're exploring some European solutions to housing. Because, you've been to Europe.
Yeah.
Everything is tiny there.
Yeah, it is.
Everything is freaking tiny. You know what? An average-sized 2-bedroom apartment here, even in the hood, is spacious and luxurious compared to the average apartment or flat in Europe. So they're experimenting with some real small spaces, like container-sized spaces for housing there, because of their population.
All right. And in China and Japan, hell, they don't even have a bedroom. They got some mats, and they break them out, sleep on the living room floor.
That ain't gonna work for me. Sorry.
I'm just saying that's what they do. You don't need a room just to sleep in. You can sleep in any room.
What are you doing? You're sleeping.
Yeah, exactly. Roll those things up, roll them on the floor. Everybody go to bed. You unroll them. Yes.
Welcome. Happy New Year is just around the corner, folks. So we shall be seeing it soon enough. And there we are. Welcome to Porch Talk Radio. And we are on TV, although.
That's Eddie Adams.
That's his. Yes, I've changed color. My tan has gone away. but my hair's dark, so we're there partially. But that's all good. Our regular listening audience and viewing audience know exactly that I'm Willie. So, with that said, thank you for joining our show.
You're Willie,
and,
the other guy.
I'm the other guy, something like that. And welcome aboard, Eddie. Save me.
Again, save you. Again, welcome again to Porch Talk Radio on TV. We starting a new season here real soon. So we're starting a new year, a new season.
New sponsors,
new set of everything. And again, while we doing this, and I know it may have happened a couple of weeks ago, but I mean these things are ongoing. I like the fact that Obama is smoking Cuban cigars, because you want to talk about having an identity crisis. And normally we don't talk about Obama on this show. I mean, it's enough people beating up on Obama. I mean, from time to time, it's just certain things we have to add to it. But I like how half the Hispanics are mad and upset, and the other half,
and they should be,
and the other half don't know what the hell to do with themselves.
They're drunk
because they're talking about normalizing relations with Cuba again.
Stupid runs deep sometimes, Eddie.
And you got a lame duck president, who say he ain't gonna be lame and he gonna prove it. So next year is gonna be interesting. I'm just saying, it's one of those kind of opportunities. Some of those people, and I like how the media, with their Democratic liberal stuff, keep trying to throw out these omens of doom, and you're not going to make it past the next 12 hours if you don't do this and if you don't do that. I like how they try to just make it so that they're all-seeing eye, so they can tell the future, even though they've been wrong about everything that I can conceive of.
I think Al Gore won that election.
Yeah. And I mentioned it, 6 months ago, that it was going to be Clinton and Bush. So already half of that team is already out there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to a break. And when we come back, the half that's out there, we're going to talk about. So see you in a little bit. And of course, he's going to fix that. So
hold your breath. Welcome back, everyone, to Porch Talk Radio on TV. Don't forget us on Facebook, please. Come on board, be our friend. Also, please, PorchtalkRadio.com. Share that link with friends and family all over the planet so you guys can have some watching parties and listening parties. Got another great show packed out. Eddie?
Well, as I said before we left, just for you folks, we're just seeing where you're waiting.
Exactly.
But, like a horror movie. People just jump out, without having anything to do with the rest of the story. They just try to trick you and surprise you. Well, we were not trying to trick you, nor were we trying to surprise you, because I said this 6 months ago. Jeb Bush and Hillary Clinton will be running for presidents in the next election cycle. There's a whole bunch of things that make that so possibly true. We only got half of it. And I'm making an assumption now that Jeb has announced, which is what he did a couple of weeks ago.
Basically.
And he said, I'm running. So don't keep asking me, I'm running. It's not a lot of people who can do that. Why? Why so early? Well, he want to make sure that the right other Republicans don't run. He's not a conservative.
Nope.
He's a moderate. The record is, and this is the one record that counts. Bushes have not lost a presidential run. Okay? Everything else is bullcrap. They got a record of success.
Yeah. Pretty good.
The dad won. The stupid brother won. And this is
twice.
This is supposed to be the smart
twice.
Brother. And this is supposed to be the smart brother. So
who was just a governor?
Yeah, I'm just throwing it out there. So the
other one didn't have a governorship
because they had a cartoon show. And that's how they did on the cartoon show. Is Jeb was supposed to be the smart brother. He's just younger, and George, and W was supposed to be the stupid one,
the alcoholic one for sure,
the C student, And again, like I'm saying, every time they have run, they have won. So if you want to look at, and if for those who are counting, they're basically 4-0. Which for a football team, a basketball team, any other kind of team sport, that's not that bad. Romney is 0-3 for the most part. Because he's already lost this one. I'm just going and chalking this one up.
Yeah, there's no hope for them at all.
I'm just going.
They've shredded the boy.
So that's one of the reasons Jeb is out there early to make sure that folks know you got a big dog in the race this time. And what I mean by big dog,
money.
It's going to cost $1 billion. Romney is not going to be the $1 billion guy. He was complaining about all the money that Obama was raising. And I have found out through trial and error, if your opponent has more, bigger, better, badder toys than you, either you figure out how to get the bigger, badder toys, or you got to work harder. You got to do something more than what they're doing. So Jeb done jumped out there early. Jeb family has proven that they can raise money, that they can win the big election. And I'm not sure if you guys are aware of this again. And this may be something that Floridians hate. Because the eyes of the world is going to be on you again.
Florida?
And it's not about the Chads, the pregnant Chads, the hanging Chads, the Chad. I'm just saying. You thought we were scrutinized before. Wait till this thing starts. You want to talk about the monkey show from hell. That's what we're going to have. But at the end of the day, we still, and for the first time in history, going to end up with an ex-Florida governor as president of the United States of America. Hillary has to run now. Because I heard somebody say the other day that she was like 67 or 68.
Is she?
Yeah, she's old.
She looks it too.
She's
every bit of it, and then some.
She's 67, 68, whatever.
Wow.
Because I don't want nobody to quote me and say I misaged Hillary. I gave her a year or whatever the deal was. And we're talking about 2 years from now. So even if she ran and won, she going in day one, 70 years old.
Yeah, she's 67. Yeah, Hillary Clinton is 67 today. Her birthday's in October.
Yes, she will be older than Ronald Reagan was when he was inaugurated. Going in. Now, I know a lot of people say Ronald Reagan spent half his time sleeping, but he won the election, which gave him the ability to do what the hell he needed to do because he was in the Oval Office sleeping. I'm just saying. Hillary is a female. There are certain things about a 70-year-old female, which means if she do 8 years, because whoever wins, tend to do both terms, she'll be 78 years old. Older than Margaret Thatcher when she did her thing. So again, Hillary only gets one more shot. She is the last hope at this point in time because the Democrats can't run anybody else against Jeb Bush. They can't do it. Because I know there's a lot of stuff out there about people hate the Bushes. But for as many people that hates them, the same amount or even more love them. So that's the thing about being a lightning rod. You either love them or hate them. And that's what everybody wants. They want that guy that everybody's talking about because everybody got an opinion on them. So everybody already know them. They got name recognition. And surprise, 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 you got a lot of people who hate them, but would rather have Bush in the White House than have Hillary in the White House.
And I think that's the thing, Eddie. I think that's what I mean, if we're talking about Jeb Bush and Hillary Clinton, that's what it's going to boil down to. Eventually, even Republicans who don't necessarily right now like Jeb Bush or like the idea of Jeb Bush will if it comes down to Hillary Clinton or Jeb Bush, they'll pick Jeb Bush over Hillary Clinton. They'll do that. And I think that they won't get McCain again.
No, McCain.
And I call it that because Obama was kind of an unknown, and had spoken all this flowery language, and maybe people who didn't really appreciate what Obama was all about said, "We'll see." And some people said to me on my show, they said, "Well, if it gets really, really bad," almost hoping that things went to hell, then people would come back.
Yeah.
Well, that's asinine and stupid. We found out that it got really, really bad, and that didn't happen. And who got caught up in it? And who got caught up in the big grinder was Mitt Romney, who got involved early and then got sucked into the big grinders
folder full of women.
We get caught up in that. And
there's a swirl thing going on.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was a meat grinder that he got caught up in. But I don't think this time because again, there's not a black guy involved.
No,
it's an old white woman.
Yeah.
Nobody even look. I mean, people will look for a young white child, but no one looks for an old white woman. Okay, the old white woman, they find her later in the ditch, and it's a big thing if she survives. But nobody's looking for her.
Face down.
Nobody's looking for her.
Saying,
like a face plant.
We always say we're not politically correct.
So I think that you're right in the sense that, and again, there's a lot of support, and I know there's a lot of conservatives, a lot of our friends are conservatives who their heads explode when we say this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of support for Jeb Bush, a lot in places that they don't think there is.
Right.
There's a lot of support for Jeb Bush. When you see people on Facebook or on Twitter going, I wouldn't vote for Bush ever, blah, 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 except when you don't have any choice.
That's right.
And now the sad thing for me is that it's come to this again, is that because we will not do our work, and I've said this on this show 1,000 times, we won't do our work in the meantime to grow the farm system from city council to county commission to state rep and state senators into the governorships, that we don't have. We have. This is even for the Republicans. I think the pool is getting very, very low and very, very dry.
Right. Yeah.
Very low and very, very dry. On the Democrat side, it isn't even better because all they've got is the fake Native American Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah.
Because she's 164th. Some Indian tribe that she keeps lying about.
Indian is Indian.
Native American.
Native American,
not Indian from India.
Yeah.
She keeps lying about that.
Yeah.
And she's just left of Barack Obama.
Yeah.
So she's if you're looking for the crazy factor in the Democrats, that's where she is. But that'll be fun to watch. But that's all they've got too. And Elizabeth Warren is in her 60s. Well, it's a shame that neither of these political parties are really generating and putting forth people who are not ready for Social Security.
Well, you got Joe Biden,
another old man, another old white man.
I think he's a hoot because he'll come out with these statements at random.
He's funny.
And he's funny as heck. He could take the Tonight Show job. I think he'd do pretty good at that. But guys, I mean, the big picture I see is after it's all said and done, there's history on the planet where families have ruled and reigned.
Yeah.
Brazil, the wife took over.
Everywhere.
So it does happen. Well, Chavez, his daughter, ended up being the president. So it's not uncommon. The real, I guess the question that you're saying with bringing up the new blood is, when are we going to change? Well, unfortunately, politics it takes money. And the new blood, it's strong. The Ted Cruz out there's a lot of great candidates. They don't got the money. They got the name. They're just now making the name recognition in the media that they have a spine. I don't know how long they'll keep it, but they have it right now. But at this point, the fact that Jeb Bush can raise the money, Hillary can raise the money by just saying, I'm in. Billions flow that away. Right. Suddenly, done.
Yeah.
All the rest of them are begging for every penny.
Right, yeah.
And it's not going to happen.
No.
Because the old establishment, Republican, is going to say, go with the money. We don't care about the politics. Go with the money. He says he's a Republican, rhino, progressive, whatever the hell you want to call him. He's got the money. We want success. They're going to get it.
Well, it's not even just the money. When Jeb said that his exploratory committee was out there, what he was asking people to do was hey, before, all the worker bees. This is the part that I thought was really funny. That's what the power is.
Yeah.
Hey, before you go work for somebody else, hang on.
I'm coming.
Time out.
I'm coming.
Before you go work for somebody else, which means they don't just get the money, they get the best and brightest people.
Yes.
And that's what the power is. When he's able to, because everybody who does that for a living is chomping at the bit to go work for somebody. And he says, wait, y'all hang on, before you go and choose somebody to work for. My exploratory communities out there, which is the languages I'm running. My exploratory communities out there. Yeah. And Elizabeth Warren, the fake Native American, is 65 years old too. She's only 2 years younger.
Fake, sir, fake.
Fake, absolutely fake.
Yeah.
It's been proven that she is lying.
Well, see, the other thing too. Take this in consideration. Just hold your brain. I don't want your brain
hold your head
to explode. But shortly after Bush was out of office, probably the first 2 years, they had this thing on Facebook about George Bush walking, saying, "Do you miss me yet?"
Oh, yeah.
And it was out there for a while. Jeb will be proof that somebody was missing the Bushes. Because if you put that, "Do you miss me now yet?" Well, Bush 3 is coming. Because it's just set up for that. And I am glad that Obama did 8 years. I'm going to throw it out there. I'm a Republican. I'm glad he did 8 years. Because usually by the time 8 years turn around, the pendulum has swung so far left to where it don't matter who the Democrats get. The country is tied. They did 16 years of anybody since Roosevelt. And he did 12. And again, the whole notion is you do 8 a Democrat, 8 a Republican, 8 a Democrat, 8 a Republican, and that trend has been going along for 100 years. Now you may do 4 of one or the other every now and then, but you're not going to do 16 years of a Democratic president or 16 years of a Republican president. And I'm going to tell you, if Obama had another term to run, he'd get squashed like a bug.
Yeah, it'd be. You're right. It'd be really hard for him, because the deal is you've got too much to be criticized for at this point. You have too much on the table to be criticized, and you've had at that point it'd be something like 8, almost a decade for it to go into full effect.
For it to be yours.
Whether you own it or not, he's not really good at owning stuff. Whether you own it or not, it gets thrust on you. So I don't think anybody wants that, because if you can't get it done in 8, what the hell do you think you're going to do in 12 years? More than a decade. So I think it'd be really, really hard. I mean, even if it were possible, and it isn't, thank the Lord it's not possible, even if it were possible, he would get crushed. Absolutely crushed.
And he's still their best candidate. I'm just saying.
Basically.
I'm just saying.
He's learned to be.
You got him, you got Elizabeth Warren, and you got Hillary. He would beat Hillary again.
Oh, easily. And
he'd beat Hillary.
He's charismatic. Hillary's not. She's kind of abrasive.
And
bitter.
And Elizabeth Warren is crazy.
Yeah.
She's their most entertaining candidate. She'll be. I'm telling you.
Sheila Jackson's pretty funny now. She comes up with some good stuff.
Yeah, but she's not going to ever run for president.
No, they'd never do that.
Because they know that
she's way crazy.
Well, yeah, but Elizabeth Warren is pretty nutty too. So it should be interesting as things play out. It should be very, very interesting.
And again, this is what we bring you, because it'd be different if I just said this last week. I said this 6 months ago. I mean, we have an archive of these shows. If you go back and listen to my shows, I said this. Not pat myself on the back about being right, but there was a certain amount of just common sense that goes with this thing. And we know and understand politics probably a little better than most of the folks watching this show. A few may have a better grasp on it, but you don't get to talk about it every week like we do. So just in that fact alone, we have to at least do a little bit of research on it, so that we can carry on a conversation for an hour 2 hours, about these particular topics. That being said, I wish Jeb Bush all the luck on the planet.
He's got money. He's not going to need luck.
Because he's going to need it. Because every media and every story imaginable, even though he's been thoroughly vetted.
Oh, yeah.
His family's been vetted.
Mm-hmm.
His kids, grandkids, cousins, anybody Again, these are all Bushes. And I like how when they're talking badly about the Bushes, they don't pick a Bush, they just throw the whole family out there. I'm serious. I mean, other than the Kennedys, this is the only other family that they do this to. I mean, seriously. I mean, I don't like none of the Bushes. And not another Bush. No more Bushes get elected.
No, obviously their politics have always been pretty similar.
Yes.
Progressive all the way.
Yes.
A lot of spending on the last Bush we had.
Yeah.
A lot of spending. Government programs put into place that I think just infuriated the Democrats. That's why they hated him even more. And he couldn't pronounce the word nuclear, something like that.
Nuclear.
Something like that. He couldn't even pronounce it. But the fact that he outspent the Democrats and put on some really big government programs, they were just fit to be tied.
Well, and their problem with Jeb Bush is that Jeb Bush is more aligned to their agenda.
Yeah,
he's hard.
He's
come on now. Wait a minute.
Here's the judo. Yeah. Here's the judo of it. He's more aligned to a lot of them than us necessarily. So he's kind of hard to attack. So what do? How do you attack him when he's all Common Core and so are you?
Yeah.
You know what? How do you attack somebody who agrees with you most of the time? How do you have to go?
And he's immigration.
Yeah, exactly.
And so are you.
It's a judo thing because all he has to do is use your own weight against you.
Right. Yeah.
So it's
who do the unions fund?
Yeah.
It's kind of it's. I think that, and it'll be nice watching all the pundits' head explode. And MSNBC just go bananas. Because they'll try to attack this person, and you go back in their archives, and you go back in our archives, and find out that Jeb Bush is saying and promoting the very same thing that you're promoting on the Ed Show. What an idiot he is! The very same stuff. What do you want?
And day one, first thing out of his mouth, I need to lose the primary and win the election. Now all these smart folks trying to figure out what the hell that means. He meant. You can't physically lose the primary because then you can't run for president.
Yeah.
He meant lose his base, but win the primary, knowing that if he gets to the general election, he's going to kick butt. He's going to kick boo-doo-doo.
They've done this before.
They've got the three. This would be the third time.
Well, you know what? And it isn't like they're not sharing information. They've done this before.
Yes.
They know how to win elections. They've had governorships.
Yep.
Both Bushes have been governors, as a matter of fact. They know how to do it. They know how to do it. And as much as it drives, again, a lot of people who agree with you and I, nuts, it is our reality, and we have to live in our reality. And part of our reality is that there's a really good shot that Jeb Bush could be the next president of the United States. There's a really good shot that Jeb Bush may end up being the Republican nominee. Now, that may drive people crazy, but he right now, as a Republican, has the best shot at beating Hillary Clinton.
Now I think the age, the credentials, everything is there.
Everything matches up.
And again, we go back to the fact that you know everything about his family. You know the mom looks like the man on the Xbox.
There's no skeletons that are going to fall in the closet and go, oh my God, they've been eating children at the Bush. They're eating children there. No, there's no surprises in the Bush closet.
Exactly.
And they all stay at the same family ranch. So it ain't like you're going to roll up there and find something there now that you didn't find when the dad was president.
Oh, the Bush
the first son was
they
president.
Own slaves.
The last 12 years, in other words.
They own slaves. They have slaves on the ranch.
Children slaves.
And
they own child slaves.
Let me tell you something else. The state of Florida. Black folks in the state of Florida did better for his appointments job opportunities, and being involved than any other governor in the history of this state.
I can believe that.
Close to the truth.
So, that being said, the biggest issue with Democrats is, how are we going to keep the black folks on the plantation? I'm going to tell you, if Jeb is the candidate, nationally, you're going to have an Emancipation Proclamation. Because a whole bunch of black folks are going to leave the Democratic plantations and vote for Jeb Bush. History tells us that. His brother ain't going to get half the black folks that Jeb is going to get because that's Jeb's nature. Jeb has a different appeal to people.
But Jeb's just charismatic. He's more charismatic than W. More charismatic than Hillary, although I think a dog in heat would be more charismatic than Hillary.
I wouldn't have any idea. I've never looked
at it. But just saying in general, there's just no way that Jeb can lose when it comes to the charisma, to the money he's got access to,
he's
the
tall.
experience.
He's tall.
Tall people always end up being more successful than the rest of us, quote, average height people that are height challenged, however you want to do that one. So again, I think just all the cards are in the favor of Jeb.
All right. With that being said, the mastermind, the guy with the magician behind the one that's telling us to wrap this up. So and we do as we told. So with that being said, we'll see you in a little bit. We're going to go to a break now.
Welcome back, everyone, to Porch Talk Radio on TV. We've been talking about a lot of great subjects here, topics. Please go to our Facebook, drop us a comment on anything you've heard here that struck a nerve one way or the other. Also, don't forget us at just Porch Talk Radio T for your Twitter type people. And we're still working with blogtalkradio.com. Just type in Porch Talk Radio online. You'll find us there as well. A lot of great topics. If you'd like to be a sponsor for our show, please drop us a message. If you should have a product you'd like to bring to the general public, let us know, please. Drop us a message as well. Eddie?
Well, I just love this time of the show because we get to say thank you. And that's as we change the way people feel about God and the way we feel about unborn babies and some of this other stuff, I find that young people say thank you a lot less. It was something about us saying yes, sir, and no, ma'am, and yes, ma'am, and I mean just the stuff that used to be called etiquette at home that you would get, home training, that kind of stuff. A lot of people don't have it, so I want to make sure for the new year we start out saying to our sponsors, and we do it every week. Thank you to Republic Service. Thank you, Bloomingdale's Flower Shop.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for Faith Home Health, because that's how we do what we do. Now we got another topic here, and this is going to be something a little different, because we had this conversation a couple weeks ago about people in Oklahoma and Nebraska feeling safe. We're talking about people getting their head chopped off and Americans going abroad and getting left over there in prisons, getting kidnapped off the street. Hell, we got soldiers that kind of got captured and stayed in somebody else's jail for 2 or 3 years because the government hasn't did what it needed to do to go get our people. This whole police thing, I am a black male born and raised in America. My vision of the police is going to be considerably different than most white males or most white females. They make you feel safe. There's a whole bunch of black folks. I'm just saying, when the police show up, whether you the bad guy or not, you don't know whether you're going to survive the occasion. Because you could be the neighbor, you could be the cousin, you could be that guy that's trying to explain stuff, and next thing you know, you dead. I'm not saying that to put the onus on the police. I'm putting that on society as a whole. It's a whole lot of good people and it's a whole lot of bad people. Period. Black, white, blue, green, or gray. It's a lot of cops that was born and raised in the same society as myself. They became police for a reason. Part of that was to secure and protect their families. And I understand that. Some like to secure and protect our families. But there's always a fear consideration there. And any psychiatrist, psychologist, anything with a psi in front of it will tell you people react differently under stress. And when they're afraid, that if they can take their time, analyze, and come up with a logical, reasonable reaction to whatever's going on. Sometimes this stuff happens in 5-10 seconds. And next thing you know, someone is dead. Now, here recently, within the last week, here in Hillsborough, actually it was in Pasco County. It's so funny because people benefit from other people's grief. There's a domestic violence situation in Pasco County, and the police showed up, as they normally do. These were white folks. Lady was all beat up, bloody inside. Cops kicked the door down. The guy had a stick or a bowl or something, attacked him, tased him, and they shot him and did not empty the gun. I'm just saying.
That's strange.
They shot him. He ended up in the hospital. He's currently recovering. So it is possible, and I think that one white guy owed black folks a debt. Because they had not been raising all this hell about getting shot to death, that guy would be dead. I'm just saying. He'd be dead. So they thought twice about killing him because there's a lot of heat going on.
Yeah.
Obama and our Attorney General Holder is talking about retraining police, which I 100, 200, 300% disagree. You can't just go in there, do a feel-good seminar, take a couple of hours of classes, and make you feel differently about a whole race of people. It's not going to happen. It's been tried too many times. They call it, diversity training, or whatever kind of good name it is. You have a facilitator. That facilitator don't go home with you. Soon as you leave that training, you go back to being the person you were when you walked into training. Except for now you better understand what it is you've been doing and what it is you've been feeling. You have to change the culture. And again, I'm not trying to screw you or screw with your head, but 12% of the population in general is making up 60 and 65% of the folks in jail. Is it because of crime? Or is it because of some bias? I'm just throwing it out there. Because we do know drug laws treat black folks differently than white folks. We do know that if I'm afraid of you from day one, I'm more likely to shoot you than to talk to you because I'm afraid of you. That's just the way fear works. I am a black man. If I see about 4 young brothers about 16, 17 years old coming at me in the night,
it's not for Girl Scout cookies?
I will walk my black behind to the other side of the street myself. So I'm not saying because you're white, some kind of special. No, I understand fear too. I like going home to my family and surviving the end of the day. So there's certain things that we have to work on holistically. And part of that is changing some of the images and over a period of time readjust how we feel about each other. I'm talking about black folks and police.
Well, you know what you mean. You mentioned a holistic approach to this. That it isn't just that cops get trained to shoot black people.
Okay.
That's not happening. You know, some people would say that's the truth, but that's not happening. What happens is that the dynamic in a lot of areas is built that the police and the community are on opposite sides of the fence because they end up at cross purposes because of crime, and they end up at cross purposes.
Right.
If a police officer, if their experience is that when you go down this street and deal with this group of people, this always happens, then of course they prepare themselves. They get in the battle mode, and I get it. After teaching in inner city schools, I get it. You go into a battle mode mindset, and if you do that, somebody is more likely to get hurt.
Yes.
That's just it. Now, on the other hand, there are black people or Hispanic people or people who live in urban communities who because they've had struggles with police before, or frankly, they're trying to perpetrate crime. We got to be honest. They're trying to perpetrate crime, and they're being stopped. Mm-hmm. And now they're in an adversarial relationship with police. And like anybody else, if I'm in an adversarial relationship with Gabriel, I want you to agree with me.
Yes.
If I think Gabriel is a dirtbag and a terrible person, I want you to agree with me. So what happens in the community is that the people who represent authority,
yes,
and because this is what it all goes back to.
Yeah, it does.
The people who represent authority are the bad people. That's where we are right now.
Yeah,
I think that's where we are
nationally.
In our community. Whoever represents authority is a bad person, and the people who represent authority in the urban community and in any community, of course, is the police, because they show up and they should, even if they didn't have one bias in the world
right.
about a person, they show up, and the law, of course, is the authority, and it says, guess what? You can't beat your wife to death in this house, or we will shoot your ass. And that guy, and he must have been on something, because they tased him
he kept coming.
a couple of times, and he had a table, he kept coming, so
Yeah.
they shot him, and that's when he stopped.
Yeah. And again, they didn't empty the gun. That's my
No,
fault.
they didn't empty the gun because
gun.
after getting shot, he stopped. And that's all they want you to do is stop. And, so they represent authority. And what we don't want, and we talk about people all the time, they don't want anybody to tell them anything. Don't tell me nothing. I can be my own person. I can do my own thing. No, I don't need you to tell me that. Except if Oprah comes and says something to you, then it's like it came from God. Yeah. And that's why people walk away from the church.
But Oprah may give you a car.
She might.
You
get a car, you get a car, you get a car.
Exactly.
You got to pay the taxes, you got to pay the taxes, you got to pay the
taxes.
Exactly. Yeah. You know what? So that's. I think that's really the deal. It's the hate of authority.
Yeah.
And it's the authority that the police represent. Because we talk about neighborhoods where there are fatherless neighborhoods to start with.
And the fact that they can kill you and get away with it too. Gabriel.
Looking at what the big picture is, we have a bitter, angry Obama and a Holder tag teaming and usurping the authority of the local police by throwing them under the bus, because every situation that's come up since Obama's been president involving a black person, has made the news. It's been going on forever. You guys know that. But then Obama...
Not in Chicago.
Well, yeah, but Obama has always been quickly to side with the thugs. Mm-hmm. How dare the police, the authorities, come after my people? Even though he's mulatto, side note. But, so it's like he's been continuously at it, and Holder continually doing additional investigations, additional tax dollars being spent to prove that something's got to be wrong there, because a black thug was done wrong. The life of a thug is the life of a thug. I don't know many retired thugs. They're thugs for a reason. I don't care what color they are, but the fact that we've had a black president that has continually been pulling the rug out from under the local authorities, police authorities across the country. Anything that's why they had the first one, the beer sitting at the bench.
Oh, the beer summit.
The beer summit.
The beer summit. That was retardation on steroids there, because then the media made a circus of the circus.
Yeah.
And it just went. So now all the local police and authorities across the country know they can't do anything to a thug without getting on TV and the president hating them and then America hating them. They can't do their job. Now, you guys pull out the points that, well, why is it that a higher percentage of blacks are filling up the population in the jails? Mm-hmm. Okay. Is it education? Has the families been destroyed? There's a lot of things there, but you guys were quick to say, well, I don't think the training for the policemen is to go throw black people in jail. Just the ones that are obviously acting up bad. So I think there's a bigger picture going on there, guys. You guys know it. And it's just, but there's nothing the government's doing except throwing police, local authorities that they're supposed to be respecting under the bus every chance and never giving them the benefit of the doubt. Period. Commercial time. Folks, we're glad that you're listening in. If you have something to tell us about it, please come on Facebook. Drop us a note, good or bad. We'd love to hear from you. And we'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone, to Porch Talk Radio on TV. We've been covering a lot of hot topics here, trying to make you think, get that gray matter going, and if you're still on the plantation, hopefully it's moving you closer to the edge. I'm sure there's some way we can get you off of it. Give us a message on Facebook. We'll come pick you up. Otherwise, hang in there. Don't forget us on Facebook. Drop us a message. Don't forget us on PorchtalkRadio.com. Please share that link with friends and family all over the planet. If you'd like to be a sponsor in our show, drop us a message. We'd love to hear from you. Or if you have a product or service you'd like us to let be known to the general public, please drop us a message. Eddie?
All right. Now I'm going to say this. We just kind of had a conversation about how a lot of folks feel unsafe. I'm going to tell you who makes me feel unsafe. Sony.
Oh.
Sony makes me feel unsafe. Because you got a stupid, ridiculous child dictator who say, you make a movie about me and we're going to shut you down. So we got some hackers and they hack some emails. See, that's the thing that's so funny about some of this stuff. They start releasing emails. Ain't like they're trying to tap the equipment, get their ID and give them to everybody. They got some email addresses and some emails that they was corporate types talking to each other about black folks and about po folks and about people who they depend on to make their living, but they didn't want that information to get out. So they said, "Oh, we'll do whatever you want. We won't release this multi-million-dollar movie that it took us to make, and we was expecting to make all this money off of. All these government officials, all these people who are out there that's supposed to care more than anybody else." And what they did was, without thinking about it much, because even the president said, "Y'all should ask me about this."
Of course.
Even though all he would have did was draw another line.
The emperor?
Yeah, everybody's tired of them drawing them lines because it means nothing now. So you want to talk about how to get disrespected? Keep threatening to do stuff and don't do nothing. No, even Kim Jong-un don't respect you. Now, how the hell we get to that point? That's what I'm talking about. That's why Sony scares me. Is because it's some little running nose 2-bit dictator like 70 Sam, like on the cartoons, can make you back down. Not just about the movie, but the whole freedom of the press, freedom of expression. It's a satirical movie, which means it's supposed to be funny. You're supposed to be cracking jokes, it's supposed to be all in humor. And they can make you put your legs, put your tail between your legs, and run down the street like they did Sony. What happened to somebody with some power actually got mad at us? like our unfriend Russia. Well, I shouldn't say unfriend. I should say frenemy. Frenemy, you know, that's somebody who's supposed to be your friend, but yet they're your enemy. China. This whole list of folks. We ain't even got to the Middle East yet. Are these people who have the same potential? So the first thing we did was cry. And I'm going to say this like I mean it, because I don't know if this is a cuss word or not, but cry like a little bitch.
Uh-oh.
Big old multi-million-dollar international corporation. Billion-dollar corporation on every continent on this planet. I bet Sony got their own hackers.
I bet.
Could have shut Korea, South Korea, North Korea down by themselves. But they needed the show too. See, that's the thing about it. So in their cowardice, they made us all a little bit more uncomfortable.
You know, guys, it seems that the guys that made the threat, what country was that again, they said?
North Korea.
North Korea.
So, since they've been allowed to do whatever they want
unchecked
for many years,
mm-hmm.
I'm not sure why there's a surprise right now, because there's nothing this administration will do, has done, is capable of doing to any other country in any way, shape, or form. So the world's running rampant going, we can do what we want to those Americans, threaten them blindly, and watch them respond.
No world police.
Yeah. So at that point, because we don't want to be imperialistic, because that would be wrong. And what's happening now is much better. And that's the lie. Really?
Well, you know, it's always fun when you start dealing with, you know, with players like Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong-un he's like the little kid who wants somebody to notice him.
Right.
He's like the little kid that if you pay attention to him, that makes him special. That's why a little bit ago, he came out with, hey, listen, we're going to help you find the people who hacked you, because it wasn't us. And if you don't go along with our plan, our proposal to help you, there'll be consequences.
Oh.
He just wants to be, he's the guy who just wants to be noticed. And I watched the president's press conference because I was sick and in bed and couldn't get to the off button. Mm-hmm. So I watched
exactly
remote.
So I couldn't turn it off, so I watched it. Mm-hmm. And you know what? What he said was true. What happens when it's not a movie, when it's not a comedy, when it's a documentary on a country that somebody doesn't like? He didn't say 2-bit dictator, but he was trying. He was there.
2-bit.
He was right there. He didn't say it.
He could.
No, he can't. I mean,
he talks to the guy.
He's not in a position to do that. And you know what? He was there, but he didn't say it. What happens when it's a documentary or a news special or something else that somebody doesn't like? What are they going to do? I mean, hacking or getting hacked is just going to be part of the game from now on.
It is.
It's just part of the game.
It's the reality.
And as our cybersecurity gets better, the hackers get better.
Yeah.
So it's part of the game. So what you can't do, and he's right, what you can't do anymore is you can't cave. Now, the CEO of Sony said they didn't cave. Well, here's the deal. If you decide that you're going to not release this movie in theaters because of threats, you caved.
Yeah.
You can call it whatever you want.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to release the movie on DVD.
And take away all the trailers.
And they're going
all the promotion.
I mean, they're going to, they stop all the promotion. They're going to release the movie on DVD. It's going to be available on demand. All those things are going to exist. But they were going to exist anyway.
Yeah.
So Sony caved to the hackers and to the threats. And they shouldn't. The only thing that I found funny was that the president said that they should have talked to me first.
Yeah, they should have told me. Yeah,
of course.
They should have just called me.
Like what?
I told them.
Like what?
The emperor.
Hey, I drew a line for him.
I mean, that's the part I found
I'm the
was
line
funny.
guy.
I thought that was funny. They should have talked to me.
Yeah.
And you would have told them what, Mr. President?
Right.
Don't worry about it. It's cool. If some crap happens, I got your back. Really?
Yeah.
What would you have said to them? I think that's kind of. I thought that was funny. That made me feel a little better as I was laying there.
The example is out there, and he's not the guy to talk to if somebody's threatening you. He's been threatened a whole lot. Again, we back to feeling unsafe. Well, that's part of the unsafeness. And again, unless you have all your trailers running that you had planned on running, because there's a budget for that. unless you did all the stuff that you was gonna do.
If you haven't stopped anything at all,
Yeah,
that
and
movie opens
on Christmas Day.
Was supposed to open on Christmas Day.
On Christmas Day,
but if you see it didn't.
Any of that stuff that don't happen, you can't. Because whatever it was they did, it changed your plans from being what they were to whatever version of it uncaving now means to you. Now, I mean, that's to me what that did for me. I'm sorry for Sony's executive, but that just made me understand that there's another big ass liar out there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah,
I didn't really cave. What again? Yes, you did. See, that's that people can tell you anything kind of crap, and you're supposed to believe because they said it. Once you start changing stuff, you cave. You may say, "Well, I kind of cave." It's a little white lie, bull crap. Again, guys, I'm not seeing this.
Yeah, no. As a matter of fact, you're not. In a poll done by the WashingtonTimes.com, 76% of people who responded said that they caved, that they let the bad guys win. So no, so if you feel like Sony caved, you are in the majority because people believe that you know what? Why should? First of all, this was a movie that, by all accounts, wasn't a very good movie to start with.
No.
And by all accounts, do you make a movie about killing the head of the sitting head of another nation? Well, but Sony, being their liberal self, they believe they get away with anything, which is kind of the funny part for me, that maybe you can't get away with anything. So, no, 76% of people who responded to this poll are just like us, who said, you caved.
And how long did it take them to make this movie? It took them 6 months to make this movie. Why did not somebody at Sony, $1 billion international corporation, figure out that baby over there was going to throw a damn tantrum when they released the movie?
Of course.
I'm just saying. Y'all make too much money, and you're too damn smart to let that get away. But anyway, he ain't caved. Just remember that. And with that being said,
will it be New Year's Eve next time?
We're gonna start New Year off right. So we're not caving here on Porch Talk Radio.
Exactly.
On TV.
Strength.
See ya.
God bless.
That's Black Power or something. We could go to jail in countries for that.
Is that all right?
Not this country, though.
Not this country.
All right.
No, we're good.
Done.
For the notice.
All right. We got the thumbs up, which means we can pack up, and we ain't gotta go home.